The first time they slashed her son's bike tires, she patched them up in silence. No police. No confrontation. Just quiet tears while her 12-year-old, Lucas, asked her why kids could be so mean. Some people don't know better, she told him gently, brushing his hair back with a calmness only years of discipline could teach. But that doesn't mean we stoop to their level. What the neighborhood kids didn't know was that Sarah Carter wasn't just a tired single mom working double shifts to pay rent. She was a former U.S. Marine. 8 years of service. 2 deployments. Combat tested. Trained to survive, protect, and defend. But now, she was in a new kind of battlefield, one where the enemy was ignorance, and the mission was raising a good human in a world that sometimes made that feel impossible. It all started when they moved into the small town of Elmswood, a quiet, tight-knit community where outsiders weren't welcomed easily. Lucas was the new kid in 6th grade. And being quiet, kind, and polite apparently made him a target. The ringleader was a boy named Bryce. His dad owned half the town. He wore privilege like a badge, bullying anyone he didn't see as worthy. His friends followed his lead. They started small. Pushing Lucas in the hallway. Laughing when he spoke in class. Stealing his lunch. When Lucas came home with a black eye and said he fell, Sarah knew better. She had seen that look before, the fear behind a forced smile. Sarah didn't react with rage. She didn't march to the school, fists clenched. Instead, she watched. She documented. She taught her son how to defend himself, not with fists, but with confidence, awareness, and control. She also went to the school board, with quiet precision and undeniable evidence. But Bryce and his gang didn't stop. One evening, they spray-painted vulgar words on Sarah's fence. The next morning, Lucas didn't want to go to school. He sat at the kitchen table, eyes fixed on the untouched cereal in front of him. "I wish Dad was here," he whispered. Sarah's heart cracked, but she kept her expression steady. "I know, baby," she said, kneeling beside him. "But I'm here. And I've got this." Later that day, Sarah walked into the school. Not as a mother. But as a Marine. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't threaten. She simply laid out a file on the principal's desk, timestamps, pictures, screenshots, video footage. Everything they needed to see what Lucas had been enduring. "You have 1 week," she said calmly. "Fix this. Or I go above you." The principal stammered, trying to defend his inaction. But Sarah's stare was enough to stop him mid-sentence. Still, the bullies didn't know who they were dealing with. That Friday night, during a school football game, Bryce and his friends cornered Lucas near the bleachers. They shoved him hard against the wall. One pulled out a phone, recording. "What's your mom gonna do?" Bryce sneered. "Call the army." Lucas didn't answer. He just stared at them, calm, almost too calm. Then a voice rang out behind them. "She won't have to." The boys turned. Sarah stood there. In uniform. Not because she needed to scare them, but because she wanted them to understand. "I spent 8 years overseas," she said, stepping closer. "I've seen kids your age forced to grow up with nothing. No schools. No parents. No food. And you think you're strong because you pick on someone smaller than you." Bryce tried to laugh it off. "What, you gonna hit me?" "No," Sarah replied. "But I will show your parents this." She held up her phone. She had recorded everything. The video went viral. Not just in town, online. A local news station picked it up. Former Marine mom confronts school bullies with class and courage. The school launched an anti-bullying task force. Bryce and his friends were suspended and required to take empathy training with veterans and victims of bullying. Sarah didn't want revenge. She didn't want headlines. She just wanted her son to walk through the halls without fear. And he did. Lucas began speaking at school events, sharing how he learned to stand tall, not because he fought back, but because his mom taught him the strength of stillness, discipline, and truth. Sarah. She became a mentor for other struggling parents. She volunteered at the school, led workshops, and showed everyone that strength isn't loud. Sometimes, strength wears tired eyes, washes dishes late at night, and walks kids to school alone. Sometimes, strength is a single mom, with a military past, fighting every day not on a battlefield, but in a cafeteria, a classroom, or a small living room filled with dreams and love. The message? Never underestimate someone because they're quiet. Never mistake kindness for weakness. And never mess with a single mom, especially one trained by the United States Marine Corps. Because the most dangerous kind of strong is the kind that fights for peace.